Hey YouTube world, it's Karina here with another video. Good to see you all, and Happy New Year. Yeah, it's been a hot minute since I've been on my YouTube channel or posted a video. This is a new background. I have all my art in the background, as you can see. Yeah, but there might be some random vlogging throughout this video that I did throughout the week that I'm gonna trickle in. And yeah, I'm going to do today's video on trusting yourself. So I hope you guys enjoy this video and learn a lot. Alright, so let's jump into it. Last year I've learned a lot about listening to myself and trusting myself. I've had to learn how to say no to people and listen to my inner voice, my intuition, and my gut. And it's been hard, let me tell you. I am not someone who likes to say no to people or likes to take a step back when it comes to things. Trusting myself has been such a learning process. And I think it's a process that you work on throughout your entire life. Like it's, not someday you'll just check it off your list and it's like done. It's, it's a constant battle to trust yourself and to make those decisions to trust yourself and really listen to you. As the world is always demanding our attention and us to do different things, it can be really hard to say no. I think journaling is something that can really help you listen to your inner voice, especially journaling on like a Google document or a Word document can be really helpful. That way you can reflect on your journaling process, you can control find in the document and look for different themes or words to kind of see what you've been telling yourself and where you've been at. And this can be something that's really crucial, and it can just be something helpful to look back on different parts of your life as well. Another great way to trust yourself is to put yourself first sometimes and put more energy into getting to know who you are and taking care of yourself. I feel like the metaphor that they always refer to when you're in an airplane and if you're in an emergency, that you put your oxygen mask on first before putting on your child's or the person next to you, is such a key metaphor. Like sometimes we need to put ourselves first and we need to get to know ourselves first before we put time and energy into helping other people. And to get to know yourself better, you can figure out what you love to do and what people you like to be around and just discover who you are. And it can be a long journey to figure out who you are, but I know for sure there's definitely something that you can say for sure about yourself and about who you are as a person. And continuing to lean into that and figuring out what feels good to you is really an important journey. I think also finding ways that you can be reflective in your own life is really important as well. I like to do this through art and watercolor. I often journal or watercolor or do art in what I'm feeling. I try to portray my emotions, and I also do an exercise of watercolor where I just will paint whatever I'm feeling and use whatever colors I'm feeling, and then I'll reflect on that art piece and try to think about what it's communicating to me, and that can be a really helpful exercise. As well as using tarot cards can be really helpful as well. They are essentially these cards that can tell you about what's going on in your life right now. And when you get these different cards, it's a good opportunity to reflect on why you're getting these cards and what they might be saying about your life and where you are right now. Another thing you can do as well is work on yourself and who you are. So doing self-help books if you know that there's something that you struggle with. Working on your own self-compassion, and working on being affectionate towards yourself. There's a lot of ways you can do this, and self-touch can be very therapeutic as well. Just really building up who you are is very important, and also like taking care of your mental health is super integral to building that self-trust with you. And you know, I highly recommend counseling if that's something you're open to as well. That can help you figure out who you are and figure out how to listen to that inner voice. So moving on, I'm going to get into some examples in my life most recently where I've had to trust myself and kind of how I went about that process. So over the past semester I was working with a social movement, and that was a really excellent opportunity. But over the semester I noticed that the way I am a leader sometimes can be taxing on myself, and I reflected and realized I want to work on my leadership style before I commit to more social movements or working with social justice related things. And that was a really hard choice for me because this was one of the first social movements I had worked with, and I had to recognize that like there would be other opportunities, and maybe right now the best choice for me is to say no and figure out what leading a group means to me. So to make that decision, I did have to listen to myself. I consulted people in the process, and I something that's like also really important in this process and in the examples I'll give too is sometimes like it's important to consult people in your journey, but at the end of the day, like the most empowering thing is to make a decision yourself sometimes. So you can get people's opinions or advice, but sometimes it's most important that you listen to you, and that can be really powerful. And in this situation, like I consulted people, but at the end of the day I still made it my own choice and listened to me and what I was saying, not other people. So that's something that's really integral to trusting yourself as well, is listening to you and not like all the voices around you. The voices around you can help, and you can use them to help you make your decision, but at the end of the day it's to still be you making that decision. You should not be doing it just because your mom or your friend or whoever told you to. That is super important to trusting yourself as well. Alright, so the second example, I also had to make a decision for myself. This semester there was a course I really wanted to take, and one of my favorite professors was teaching it, but in the end I decided not to take this course because it was going to have some sensitive topics in it, and I just didn't feel like I was in the right headspace at this point in my life. So I decided if I wanted to take it, I'll take it later and when the timing feels more right. And that, again, was a hard choice, but I listened to what I needed and I felt confident in it, and I felt good about making that decision. Most recently, I also had to make a very hard decision in my life. I won't get too much into the details of it because it's pretty fresh still, but what I will note is that this was a really important decision for me to really make that big step to continue trusting myself. And I am so proud of myself for making that decision because I know I did the right thing. And I know it was the right choice for me because it felt right. And actually, speaking of feeling right about doing the right thing, there's an art piece right here. It says, "You will know the truth by the way it feels." So I'll actually grab it down and I will just show you guys. And I think this is a really beautiful quote. This image I made is a kind of a combination of a few images that inspired me, and the quote is, I just found it on Pinterest. But yeah. But I think that quote really resonates with me because it's so true. You know the truth by the way it feels, and sometimes it's hard to listen to that and to do what it's asking of you, but at the end of the day, you know in your heart how you feel about something and whether it is the right choice for you. And recently I had to really lean into that, and I let go of something really big in my life, and it was really hard, but I know it was the right decision because it felt right, and I think it was also the right decision because this part of my life just wasn't serving me anymore. and I felt like I was losing my parts of myself through that process. So I'm really proud of myself for making that decision, because at the end of the day, the decision I made was for me. And now I can be more of me and more of who I am. And it's really important in our life that we have relationships that add to us and don't take away from us. And I think it's really beautiful when you can find those relationships, those things that you love that make you who you are and glorify you and don't strip away at you. And life's never going to be perfect. There's always going to be things that are stripping away at us and aren't helping glorify us. So it's a constant battle of figuring out that balance, but when you get to a point where you've just stripped away a bunch of things, it's a good feeling. You feel a bit like naked or like lost, because it just feels like all your security is gone, but it's the right choice, and you'll build that back up and you'll figure out what honors you and who honors you. So that can be really important. The last thing I wanted to talk about in this video is being confident in your body. This can be something that's also super important in your journey to trusting yourself. Being confident in your body, there's I can make a whole video about that on that topic as well. But what I wanted to focus on is how I trust myself and I'm confident in myself through sports. So two of my biggest sports, I mean, I'm not sure if I consider yoga a sport, but yoga and rock climbing are like my main two things that I really love and pour into. And specifically rock climbing, I feel like this is a sport where I get to really work on my confidence, believing in myself, and my trust. And all of those things overlap and tie into one another. But when I climb, if there's a move I try to do and I can't do, and then I want to work on that problem and try to do that move, I need to trust myself, and I need to believe in myself, and I need to be confident that I can make that move. And it's really hard to do that sometimes, but when I do it, it's like so gratifying, because I know I did that move because I trusted myself in that moment. And that is just amazing, to build that trust with yourself. And just testing your limits and pushing yourself can be really empowering. Obviously, don't push yourself if you have a broken arm or whatever, but knowing how to test your limits and knowing what is too much or too little or etc. is a learning balance, and it's a learning curve, and it's something you figure out over time, but it's something really important to build, and doing that through sports can be really therapeutic and really helpful. Yeah, so I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I'll just do a quick summary of what we talked about. So we talked about trusting yourself, listening to that inner voice, trusting your gut, journaling, getting to know yourself better. I gave a few examples in my own life of how I've recently trusted myself, and then I also talked about sports and how that can be a way to help you trust yourself. I hope this video helps you and gets you thinking about how you can trust yourself better, and I hope you guys stay tuned for my next video and have a great week. Alright, see you guys. Bye.